Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Game Things. I'm your host for the week, Ming, and today we're gonna start off by covering Cyberpunk 2077. First, we have a new animated series called Edge Runner, which is about a kid that is trying to survive in the harsh and tough tech-filled world of Cyberpunk. The animated series is set to have the first episode released next week, so make sure to check it out when it's available. Next, we'll talk about the new update 1.6 that is out and available now for Cyberpunk 2077. Of course, the first thing we get is more cosmetics, but aside from cosmetics, we also have a new weapon to try, new gigs, and new missions to take on as well. Aside from that, a new quest that is related to the Edge Runner series will be releasing soon as well. This new update also brought about a pretty great quality of life improvement called Transmog, and this feature basically allows you to equip all your best equipment while ensuring that you look good by allowing you to equip other outfits without having to worry about messing up your stats, which is a pretty good addition overall. Now, while update 1.6 is great and there are a lot of cool things for you to try out, it does have some bad news to it. The devs have announced that this will be the last major update for all the old consoles, mainly PS4 and Xbox One. So players on this platform will no longer be able to enjoy any new released content moving forward, including the recently announced Phantom Liberty expansion, which will supposedly feature new characters as well as a new district for players to explore. All in all, these are some pretty good updates that I'm sure a lot of players can appreciate, and if you have never tried the game out before, it might be a good time to try, as by the time you get bored of the game, the next expansion should be very near its release. But of course, if you are an old console player, then you guys might want to consider switching to a PS5 or PC. The next major news we have for this week is on the newly confirmed title Assassin's Creed Mirage. Assassin's Creed Mirage will be focused on Basim, a key character from the most recent Assassin's Creed title, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The location that Assassin's Creed Mirage will be centered around is most likely Baghdad, based on rumors and leaks revealed so far, and the main plot point revolves around the younger days of this installment's main character, Basim. The last piece of news we have so far on this title is that the game will supposedly be a more back to the basics game, as it is said that this title is heavily influenced by the original Assassin's Creed game. So for fans that are looking to enjoy the original charm of Assassin's Creed, you guys should feel pretty hyped up for this upcoming title. And that's pretty much all we know about the game for now, but there will be an official reveal of this title on the 10th of September, which is this Saturday. The reveal will start at 9 PM Central Eastern Time, otherwise known as 12 PM Pacific Time. So be sure to check out the official stream to get more first-hand info if you are a hardcore Assassin's Creed fan. But don't worry, even if you missed the official reveal, you can always subscribe and follow Game Things to stay updated on all the recent gaming news. That's all for our major news segment, and we'll now move on to our flash news segment on a supposed Silent Hill 2 remake. Of course, so far we only have some leaked images, so do take this info with a grain of salt. But if the images are confirmed to be real, then this will be a really exciting piece of news, as we can finally enjoy this old game with better and improved graphics. But there is one important thing to take note of. This new remake will not be like the original Silent Hill 2 game, because your POV for this remake is basically the same as the recent Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes. So if you really enjoyed the way RE2 and RE3 worked, and just like horror games in general, then you should pray real hard that this leak news ends up being real. If you think we were done talking about leaks, then think again. Our next piece of flash news is a rumor. This rumor features a remaster of a very popular franchise, and that franchise is Metal Gear Solid. That's right folks, we are potentially getting a remaster for the old Metal Gear Solid titles. To top it all off, we aren't just getting a remaster for the first Metal Gear Solid title. According to the rumors, we will be getting the remastered version of Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3. 3 freaking remasters. This is extremely exciting news for fans of the franchise because you guys will now be able to enjoy the game on high-end graphics. But of course, this piece of news is just a rumor, so don't be too excited until we get the official news announcement. Moving on from all the unconfirmed news, we'll now talk about a title that has been confirmed to be in development, and that title is a brand new Mafia title. This new Mafia title, which we speculate to be Mafia 4, has been confirmed during the 20th anniversary interview. Although we currently don't have any other info about this title, it is good to know that we will be getting a sequel to a very popular trilogy from the olden days, and I am sure that fans of the franchise are super excited about this announcement as well. Next, we're going to talk about some games that recently revealed some brand new gameplay footage. The first title we are going to cover is New Tales from the Borderlands. The devs recently released an 18-minute long gameplay video giving the viewers an idea of what the personality of our new characters will be, as well as what to expect from this new title in terms of the overall story. For the general story, I think it's somewhat interesting as it basically focuses around a group of misfits that are trying their best to open a dormant vault and strike it big. This is not very original because it basically is just about the poor trying to make it big, but hopefully the writers can create some interesting and unexpected twists for our main characters to encounter. Aside from the overall storyline, the gameplay video also showcased some quick time events. Now yes, I agree, quick time events suck a lot, but they have to include some way for you to interact in a narrative based game, I guess. Hopefully the game isn't filled with QTEs as it would really mess up the immersion, and I'm really hoping they don't include too many as it's awful. The next title we are going to cover is Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. Now this game is actually pretty good. If you have never heard of this title, I actually highly suggest checking it out. The visuals showcased so far is very similar to God of War, and even the way the character fights is similar to God of War. But it's not exactly a clone of God of War either, because while the combat visually looks similar to God of War, the game in general is actually more like Dark Souls. While the overall game looks great, the only minor problem that I have with the game is the lack of gore. Now, I'm not asking for God of War levels of brutality and bloodshed, but some blood being shed when you chop your enemies up with a hatchet is very much appreciated. In any case, I would still highly suggest checking out the gameplay footage because for all you know, this game might be right up your alley. Up next, the devs of Splitgate has confirmed that after the release of the next Battle Pass, they will stop development for Splitgate. Now, you might be thinking that it's a pretty unfortunate situation for the title, but actually that's not quite the case. Now, the devs definitely didn't drop the game because it wasn't performing well. The game has a pretty solid fanbase and even has an esports scene, so it's by no means a bad game at all. So with such a bright future for the title, the only reason the devs would stop development is to create something even better, which is what a lot of the fans of Splitgate are excited for. So all in all, this update might sound bad, but for fans of the game, it's really just making them more excited for what's to come. The next update that we're going to talk about is on a pretty niche but interesting game. The update in question here is for Mario Kart Tour. You might be thinking that there's no way Mario Kart is a niche game, but Mario Kart Tour is not your usual Mario Kart title. It's a mobile gacha game. This gacha game just had a pretty game-changing announcement, and they basically stated that they will remove all their gacha mechanics and instead implement a rotational shop featuring all the things that you can only originally get from the gacha system. This is pretty cool because it basically allows players to spend less amounts of money gambling and testing their luck. That's all we'll cover for today's Flash News. Now let's move on to our next segment, game delays. Our first delay is on Sons of the Forest, the sequel to the popular survival horror game The Forest. The title was originally set to be released in October this year, but has now been pushed back to February 2023. But this time the devs are very sure that this will be the last and final release date, which I personally hope that they can really stick to this brand new release date, as I would not want the game to be delayed any further for the sake of all of the fans out there. The next delay we have is on Halo Infinite's co-op and Forge mode, which has now been delayed to 8th of November. Aside from that, Season 3 has also been delayed to March of 2023, which is a pretty long wait for all you Halo fans out there. The last and final delay we have for this week is on Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, which has now been delayed to 2023. And that basically wraps up our delay segment for this week. Now we'll talk about some new titles being released this week, starting off with the official release of Temtem on PS5, Xbox Series S and X, Switch as well as PC. For those of you that have never heard of Temtem, it's basically a creature collecting game similar to Pokemon, which has been available in early access on Steam for quite some time. With the official release, a lot of improvements have been added to the game. The campaign mode has been improved, making the player experience better. A post-game area has been launched, allowing players to actually grind and earn new rewards while taking on up to 6 different types of challenges in the new endgame area. And the long-awaited competitive PvP with a rank system has also been included, allowing hardcore players to grind their hearts out. All in all, Temtem as a game is a pretty interesting one and has a lot of features that Pokemon has and even more. So if you're looking to have a fun time collecting shiny Temtems or just want to find a game with hardcore competitive turn-based battles, then maybe give Temtem a try. The next game we will be talking about is called Jack Move. Jack Move is a JRPG that features cyberpunk aesthetics. The game itself is a turn-based game, but the overall vibe of the game kinda reminds me of Mega Man Battle Network games, with all the tech vibe. In terms of visuals, the game looks somewhat similar to One Step from Eden with its pixel art style. As for the gameplay mechanics, it's actually quite interesting because you can customize your moveset with a large variety of options, because all your moves come in the form of various tech stuff. So all you have to do is just equip different things to change up your playstyle, which is pretty cool. All in all, the game looks good and is quite interesting as well. If you don't really have much to do and are looking to try out something new, then maybe give this title a shot. The next title we are going to talk about is for all you Souls-like fans, and the title in question here is Steel Rising. Steel Rising is a Souls-like game that focuses on an automaton as the main character. This is basically the unique selling point of this title, aside from the beautiful character designs featured in the game. Because the main character is an automaton, some attacks that can be performed feature some really freaky and unnatural angles, which at the same time also makes combat smooth but in a really unnatural way. But quite frankly, that doesn't really impact the game too much, as the game still looks great and will be an enjoyable time for players that enjoy Souls-like titles. Plus, being able to play as an automaton is, I guess, a pretty unique experience overall. The last and final title we are going to talk about this week is Splatoon 3. Yes, fans of the Splatoon series, I'm sure you guys have been waiting for a long time, but Splatoon 3 is finally here. Based on the early reviews, the game's single player mode has been greatly improved from the previous titles, and multiplayer mode is even better than Splatoon 2, as the devs have really took all the good things of Splatoon 2 and just added more to it, which is really great news for everyone that enjoyed the previous installments. The only downside of Splatoon 3 is that they don't feature a new big game mode that players can get excited about. But despite this flaw, Splatoon 3 is still an absolute banger and is leagues better than the prequels. So be sure to grab the title now and give it a shot. That basically wraps up all the titles we have for this week, and now let's move on to our last and final segment, Free Things. This week, Epic Games Store is giving out one free game and a free bundle. The game in question is 100 Days Winemaking Simulator, and the bundle is the Epic Launch Bundle for Realm Royale Reforged. Xbox Games with Gold will be giving out these games to their subscribers: Gods Will Fall, Double Kick Heroes, Thrillville, as well as Portal 2. As for PS Plus subscribers, on the PS4, you guys will be getting Need for Speed Heat, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. As for the last title, Toem, a photo adventure, this title will be available for both PS4 and PS5 subscribers. For players of Pokemon Sword and Shield, you guys can claim a free Gengar right now via the mystery gift, so be sure to claim it while it's still available. And that's basically all we have for this week, folks. I was your host for the week, Ming, and I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we will see you guys next week in another episode of Game Things.